Hello everybody and welcome to the Cone Racing League. We are here today for Tier 1 Round 8 at Monza, the Temple of Speed, the Turn 1 Crash Land, whatever, call it what you will. And today I will be joined by Bunnies, although he's only just got home, so hopefully we'll hop on in the comments box with me in a minute or two. But for now, moving into qualifying. Being Monza, might see a few slipstreams, but always a good show, especially at the start of the race. DRS trains are aplenty in the Italian land, but it should be a good race to look forward to. Always the aggression of these Tier 1 drivers who are convinced to win it all into Turn 1. But actually, I ought to have a look. So the standings for Tier 1 haven't been commentating all season, but it is Sweet Crown currently at the front of the title. Sweet Crown, wow, sir, call him what you will, but he's in the Red Bull, and he is a very fast driver. Won Tier 1 twice in the past, looking to make that 3 to put himself ahead of DeWill, the only other man on 2 titles. Here we go. Loaded into qualifying now. See how everybody can do. A couple of times we see laid down. And I'll see how long it takes my co-commentator to join me. Right, there we go. Gurnman, one of the first to be out on track, or will be. Once he leaves his garage, the Ferrari is deciding to go out. Well, the Ferrari decided to go out first. I think we're meant to have 18 drivers. There might be one more coming. For the moment, just 17 drivers here at the start of quali. Oh, hello, as a Haas pops in ahead, takes the lead, and hello, my co-commentator has joined me.
Hello.
I assume you are in the session?
I am indeed.
Nice, well, yeah. So, Bunnies, Adrian, I'm going to call him Adrian for the process of this, has now joined me. You'll all be used to him in Tier 1, as Nathan saying hi in the chat, hello. Good luck for your title hopes. Seem to be gradually slipping away, but Nathan is B2 in the title at the moment, so we're hoping to close down that gap to Walter. He's being the weatherman, reporting a dry race today.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Nathan in second in the championship. It's been a really impressive season from him so far. He's been right from the get-go. He was very quick, challenging Sweet Crown right from the start. Definitely, as you say though, also still sort of slipping away from him there as Sweet Crown seems to be pulling an ever larger gap at the front of the grid. Although I suppose Nathan actually would have gained on him last week.
Yeah.
He beat him out in Portimao.
P2.
It was Sahilu, I believe, who won that race. I could be mistaken on that. I believe it was, though.
Yeah,
he is
so
this weekend in the Alfa Romeo there, though, as he is a reserve. He was in an AlphaTauri last week, though, beating out, I believe, Phil. Phil, with penalties, ended up third, but I believe he was second on track, followed by, of course, Nathan, who would have taken second due to those penalties.
Yes, I've got the results from here. It was, you're right about the leader, it was, I've forgotten how you said his name, but Kahulu. Nathan did get the P2, Phil P3 and Sweet Crown P4, so even on one of his weaker weekends, still only 2 positions back, still only able to gain 7 points against the Dutch driver. Sweet Crown just so strong. In the past seasons, this season, it's always one of the hardest to beat. So we'll see how he manages today. We'll see how the reserve manages today. If he can get another back-to-back win as a reserve driver, as Gurnman showing us around Monza for the first time of asking. See what kind of lap time he sets down, see if Phil can beat him. A very large amount of the grid here. IRT members, we got IRT, we got a few Relentless members, and a few CRL. There isn't much else on the grid. There's so many of them are part of these teams now at this high level of Tier 1 within CRL.
Yep, a couple of CPI drivers as well with Chaza and Pink Eye. Really, I mean, it just shows the caliber that we have on this grid, the caliber of driver. I mean, they're all so good. These esports teams just want to snatch them up as soon as they can. So no surprise there that a lot of the drivers are in these teams, although as you say, IRT definitely dominating the majority of the grid. And yeah, I tell you what, I think Phil is about to, Gernman, setting the first time, but Phil immediately beating him with an 18.895. A couple 5-place grid penalties there.
Taupe and Yulbrim. That is an interesting one. Did they both get penalties for that one or not?
I will take a look for you. Let's see, race director.
No, it
was just Julbrim who took a grid penalty for that.
Okay, yeah, well, that's not particularly ideal for him. So AJ Wuhan going P3 and 19.2, essentially a 0.3, as Small Balls go in a 19 flat. Very, very close up top, of course. When they're pushing it this hard, there's only so much time to be found. Going to close them all so close together.
Yeah,
next man.
Monza. Apologies. Monza, of course, creating these very close gaps with so few corners, mostly straight lines. But of course, that does mean the slipstream will be ever more powerful as we power around the circuit. Ferg setting an 18.889, so only 0.06 of a second ahead of Phil, who was only just over 1/10 of a second ahead of Gernman, as Sahilu, our last week's race winner, setting a 19 flat.
Yeah, strong time from him. Oh, they're still right in amongst the mix. I mean, when you look how close those top 5 drivers are, 0.2 separating them, just so incredibly close. Indigo next, your usual co-commentator, decided he fancied a race today. That seems a little out of practice, mistake somewhere done, but he's a fast driver. Although, speaking of fast drivers, Sweet Crown straight to the front, provisional pole for the Dutchman for the championship. Leader looking strong for him at the start of this Monza race. Yulbrim, man who has that 5-place grid penalty, didn't catch what happened with that, so hopefully for the sake of fairness, he did deserve it.
Yeah, and worth watching is Nathan just starting his first flying lap. I'd expect, based on the championship and recent results, I'd expect him to be one of the top challengers here against Sweet Crown for the pole position. Of course, Phil also, as Nathan said in the interviews last week, Phil has had a lot of momentum behind him recently. Several very good results. So we'll see. Ooh, a bit of a mistake there for Nathan.
Went deep.
Yeah, so that is not optimal for Nathan. It was a purple sector 1 according to the track map, although we can't always trust that many glitches in this game. Thank you to EA for that. And yeah, so but as I was saying though, Phil carrying a lot of momentum recently. He's in 3rd as it stands, provisional 2nd row. We'll see how that turns out for him. Many drivers still left to set a lap time. Ooh, is Nathan taking a lot of curb through the Ascari chicane as well, so I don't know if he's just sort of throwing it all at this lap, especially after that mistake. This might just be a bit of a banker lap for him now. We'll see how he does. I can't imagine we'll be seeing him right up at the front given that mistake at the 2nd chicane, but what will it be as he comes across the line? It's a 19.739, so only 9th place for the Williams driver. Not what he'll be looking for.
Yeah, half a second down off that top kind of group of strong times. Sweet Crown down through AJ, possibly even over and down to Small Balls, are those top strong times that you want to be aiming for, and of course that's going to gradually inch improvement as the track progression goes on, as drivers set more and more perfect laps to come. I believe the next man to set a lap will be Pease, another fast driver. Where is he looking to be? Title, yeah, Pease P4 currently in the title. I know certainly a fast driver in general, so looking forward to seeing what he can do here.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, Pease and Phil will be the next two to set lap times. I think Phil first, he is on an out lap. About to start the lap, taking a very slow entrance into Curva Grande and just flooring it even before the apex. Of course, just having to maximize that straight line speed down the front stretch opens up the DRS. Down towards turn 1, we can see traffic on the right coming out of the pits, doing a good job to stick out of the way. Hard braking into turn 1, hits both apexes. It's going to be tough traction from here though. As much as everyone says it's the straight line speed that matters at Monza, traction is vastly important here as well. Through the Curva Grande, sticking with a tight line. Through the end of sector 1, he's up by 0.03 of a second. through the second chicane now. Just about misses the curb on the first of the two corners there, but gets the second one. Ooh, just with the rear end sliding out a tiny bit through the first Lesmo and through the second one. I think possibly just barely missing the apex there. Hits the DRS. He's got slipstream from that Ferrari up ahead of him, but he doesn't make use of it too much. Up towards Ascari now. He's up by over 10th. Hard braking into Ascari. Flick it left, right, and left again. Through Ascari, it's flat out as soon as you're off the brakes effectively. And now it's just one corner to go. One corner separating him and potentially pole position come the end of the session. Hard braking around the 50-meter board and closely, carefully getting on the traction. He's going to stay far to the right side. It's just going to be keeping it right on the edge of the track. It's provisional pole with an 18.624. An excellent lap there for the Haas driver. I'm curious to see if anyone will be able to beat that. Can't see how long is left in the session now, but a lot of drivers coming out, so I'd imagine we're quite close to the end of it. Actually, just over 8 minutes left to go. So I think everyone coming out just for their middle runs now, actually.
Yeah, as just after that, P set in at 19.3 and Rojo set in at 20.1, so not particularly fast times by either of those two drivers. Both will be looking to improve upon that. But as you said, 8 minutes left to go, basically only half the session done so far. There's still plenty more time for drivers to improve, but a very, very strong time laid down by Phil.
Yep, and I'd say also worth watching those two McLarens. Kenny has been, wasn't a brilliant weekend in Portimao, but he was on a string of P4s before that. So Kenny's been pretty solid recently. I tell you what, actually, he was a P5. He got P5 in Portimao, so not too bad. He has been doing quite well. He's got his lap invalidated, but it's just an out lap. We'll see how he does. And also Chaza has shown some quite good pace at different points in the season, so we'll see if either of those McLaren drivers can really hoist themselves up the grid in these closing stages of qualifying.
Yeah, currently on board with Chaza. Now, actually, Kenny, you mentioned he is P3 in the title, so he does have somewhat of title race going. A little ways off the top two boys is his teammate Chaza, now rounding the final corner. Ferrari up ahead, hopefully not disrupting the downforce too much for him. But here we go, his first lap of the session towards the line. It's a 19.5, so not a particularly fast lap, but still nice banker to have laid down.
Yep, and of course, as you say, not super fast laps. Nathan, his past lap wasn't great, but he's starting a new lap now. We'll see if he pulls off any, if he gets any DRS throughout this lap. That could be exactly what he needs to set a good lap time here. So many fast drivers out in front, though. Phil, Sweetcrown, Berg, Jolbream, Gernman, all of those drivers so quick. We'll see if any of them can improve, though. Including Nathan. Let's see, at the end of Sector 1, what's he at? He's up by over a tenth and a half, so that's a good start.
Sorry to interrupt, Pink Eye up to P3 and 18.7 from him, as Kenny sets an identical time to Kahulu.
Oh yeah,
both of them are 1 at 19.011 there.
Yeah, very, very good for the IRT drivers. Sahilu just ahead of Kenny there.
Yeah, although mentioning Sahulu, he will be the next driver to the line. Don't know how much improvement he's going to be getting. Didn't see his sector splits. Here we go.
He's down by over a tenth and a half going out of Sector 2, but we'll see coming across the line.
He does improve.
Just barely.
Moves himself up one place there. Next man is Chaz, who's probably coming into the pits. We'll hop on board then with Nathan. That is over a second of improvement. That is provisional front row for him. Another 18.6 from the Williams man, the P2 in the title. And I think he's going to be reasonably happy with that one. I'm sure he would have wanted the provisional pole, but certainly can't be too ashamed of that.
Yeah, 0 to hero in the space of just 1 minute 18 seconds there. Nathan really, really throwing himself up into the mix all of a sudden, ahead of Sweetcrown even, which will be the most important part for him, I believe. Just trying to get ahead of his title rival. Like I said, good weekend last weekend for him. Struggling for pace, but still managed to pull a P2 out of it. Beating Sweetcrown even, gaining 7 points on him in the championship. He's going to need a bit more than that if he wants to take the title, but he is certainly doing everything he can at the moment. Only man he can get ahead of now that he isn't already ahead of is IRT Phil with that stunning 18.624.
Yeah, it's actually, I'm looking in the paddock chat now, there's Yulbream asking for a restart after quali's over because of his penalty, but he doesn't have proof of the what happened. So the steward's unable to do anything, unable to do a lobby restart here. We'll be stuck with what he has. Is there Evans setting a 20.5, the slowest lap time so far, but now all drivers have a lap on the board. They'll all be coming out for one last mad dash. Everyone getting in the way of each other, loads and loads of slipstream to be spared. Of course, traffic to contend with. Currently Gurnman actually isn't an out lap, so we'll hop aboard with him. Of course, Evans going to be on an in lap after that last one, and be coming in, sticking on another fresh set of softs. And actually, as I mentioned, fresh set of softs, Indigo currently the only man to set his fastest lap on older tyres. By older tyres, I mean 2 laps old rather than 1 lap old, but older tyres nonetheless. So we'll see.
So definitely room for improvement for him there. I would imagine. On fresh tires, he could definitely get some more grip out of those.
Yeah, let's look at that. The top 11 drivers separated by less than half a second. And some of those guys near the bottom have not yet set clean laps. There's going to be even more within half a second. Now I'm sure the fastest time, they're going to do their very, very best to improve that provisional pole. But looking to be a remarkably close qualifying session so far. It shows good signs for the race ahead that we know to be a dry race. So no funny strategies, everyone knows what they're going to be doing. They'll all have their preparations, their practice. They know the optimal strategies here, they know the alternate ones. If you're stuck behind a car or whatever, you want to get past DRS train, undercuts, overcuts, whatever you may want to do, they know these guys are very, very experienced here. As Gurnman going round for what will probably be his last lap. And he does not have any slipstream at the moment. I don't know if his teammate Indigo will be providing any, but I know Indigo is a reserve. As he goes slightly deep into that chicane there, not quite straight lining it as much as he maybe could have. The Alfa Romeo moving well out of the way. As a team I'm not looking forward to commentating come F1 24, given the team name to be. Here we go, second sector ending. How much is he green? Just shy of 2/10. Doesn't sound like much, but that is the difference between P8 and P4. If it's enough to get him on the second row, he can keep this up through the final section. He's got one last braking zone to nail. That final long right-hander that I'm completely blanking on the name of, Parabolica. There we go. As he comes round Parabolica now towards the line, the Ferrari in front of all the Italian fans. What can he set? It is an 18.6. It is enough for provisional front row. An 18.6 from the Ferrari man. I think he will be fairly happy with that one, but let's see how much he ends up falling down the grid as the session goes on, as the drivers also set their other final laps.
Yep, and so Ferrari will be very happy with that, as actually the other Ferrari won't be too pleased. Indigo just messing up coming out of the second chicane, so he will be ending that flying lap there. Some more of the top drivers starting their laps though. Phil starting a lap. Everybody who's not on a lap is on an out lap. So we'll see into the first couple of corners, the Haas driver, Phil. It's a Haas sandwich for the grid as it stands. We'll see if anybody can change that. Phil will see through Curva Grande, sticking right to the inside, trying to minimize the distance up between the first and second chicanes. He's up by just over half a tenth. He's going through the second chicane, navigating it nicely. We've seen a lot of drivers making mistakes there so far. Manages Lesmo 1 quite nicely. We'll see where he turns in for Lesmo 2. Just about missing the curb, but he's got the DRS now. It's foot flat to the floor until Ascari. I keep messing up that little bit, but he's up by a tenth. He is not messing anything up here. Flicks it through Ascari, through that chicane. Such a high-speed section of the circuit there. We'll see through Parabolica. Gurnman retiring from the session. It's going to be second at best for him. AJ Wuhan is going to have to settle for 12th, but it's going to be Phil through Parabolica, through Curva Alboreto as it's now named, up to the line. He improves to an 18.519.
There we go.
Improved by just over a tenth.
Last week's race winner, though, not able to go to the top as Small Balls putting himself up into P4. Nathan, what can he do? He's near the end of his lap, a few more cars before him. Yulbream P7, we've got Chazza, next man to the line, currently sitting P14. What can he move up to? Stays P14. Red Bull Sweet Crown, he stays P3, not able to improve as Nathan, provisional front row for him. Can that stay? P's only enough for P12. Roju P14. We've got the Aston Martin Pink Eye next. That's not any improvement from him. Evans, though, 6/10 he's got. It's him and Indigo, last two drivers to the line. What can Evans do? It's enough. No, he stays P17. I did not see where Indigo ended up in the end, but he's not last as Evans remaining P17. I think the Haas sandwich remains. So where was Indigo? Indigo was P11 in that Ferrari. So, yeah, what a qualifying. Very good lap from Phil. Not quite enough from Nathan, but to do a quick run down of the order. Front row and on pole is Phil, followed by Nathan. A good start to his weekend. Gurman, Sweet Crown on that second row. The championship leader showing his form. 3,000ths back off Sweet Crown is Small Balls. Then Pink Eye alongside him. The Aston Martin's locking out the third row. Yulbream and last week's race winner filling out the fourth row. Ferg and Kenny end in the top 10. Then Indigo, Peas, AJ Wuhan, Rojo, Chazza, Tope and Evans finishing out that order. Top 12 drivers less than 5.5 tenths. My goodness, is this going to be a good race?
Yeah, looking very, very close. As you said, half a second between that top 10, one of which, of course, has a time penalty, though, so we'll see him probably trying to climb through the grid a little bit. I believe that was Julbream who had the penalty. I could be mistaken on that, though. And I have to ask you now, who would you say is your favorite for the win?
Well, I'm going to admit, I haven't really seen much of Tier 1 this season, so I don't know who's got the race pace. But having seen that quali, it's got to be Kenny. As much as, you know, he was the man on pole, right?
No, that was Phil.
Oh, so I meant Phil. I think I've got to say Phil. Because, I mean, that raw pace is... And he's just said he's not happy with the lap. Yeah, so Phil, I mean, he's looking so strong from that lap. If he says he's not happy with his lap, even stronger. Still, though, I imagine Nathan is very much going to bring the race pace. He wants to try and get this championship. Unless I'm completely blanking, I don't think Nathan has ever won the CRL Championship, despite being one of the owners, one of the founders. He's been here since day one. For anyone who knows any of the behind-the-scenes stuff here at CRL, you know just how much work Nathan puts into this. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Between Nathan and Phil, I'm not sure. I'm going to say Nathan. That's my final thing. Calling Nathan for the win.
All right. I'll play devil's advocate and say Phil, as we get ready for the formation lap. Let's take a look at strategy in the meantime. Tires. So quite a mix between hards and mediums. The front row both on hards, but Gernman on mediums, Pink Eye on mediums, Kenny on mediums, Julbream on mediums, and that bottom four all on mediums. Everybody else on the hard compound of tires. So we'll see Gernman potentially getting a better launch off the grid than the front row. Of course, yeah. Monza known for absolute chaos into turn one. So we'll see how many of the grid survive that opening chicane. Could be all, could be none. It could be very chaotic. I
think red flag protocol does get brought in if it is none of them escaping turn one. But yeah, nearly a 50-50 split on strategy. 9 of them on the hards, 8 of them on the mediums. But as you mentioned, Gurman being so far forward on the mediums, he could be through to the front very early on, but also could be held up by those 2 hard runners ahead of him. They go side by side. There's not much more room if they position their cars well enough. Well, I don't know how much they're going to want to working together and how much they're just going to choose to fight as hard as they can. But Monza turn 1, never corner to disappoint. So many moments. Of course, the most recent famous one, Hamilton Verstappen. One car parked on top of the other at the exit. But yeah, looking forward to this, seeing what happens. The chaos of turn 1, or of course the shuffle of turn 1. Are any drivers just going to send it up the inside and manage to do something almighty there. It's Evans at the back. These back four all on the mediums clearly wanted to make progress. As my goodness, Pease and Yulbreen both going to be starting on cold tyres. There must have been a contact between those two. Yulbreen first picking up a 5-second grid penalty and now not even going to make it to the grid. Of course, still going to be starting the race. There he is in that AlphaTauri. It shall be the Haas leading us away here. Where's Nathan? He's way back.
Yeah, and of course, be very interesting to see how these drivers get off the grid. Turn 1, you don't win a race at turn 1, but you can lose it. So my advice to these drivers would just be to be careful. Would you like to do the lights out?
Yes, I can do. I think Evans may have just given himself rear wing damage.
Oh dear. I don't think you get damage on the...
well, hopefully for him, he was doing donuts and put his car into the wall. But here we go. I cannot see the lights. 5 lights are up and away they go. A good start from Phil. Nathan just behind him, but Gurman getting contact with Sweetcrown there. Sweetcrown immediately moving up into P3 on the inside, ending Gurman's potential charges. Gurman actually down to P5. Sweetcrown looking around the outside of Nathan, side by side, the two championship rivals. It is Nathan who gets the traction on the exit. Gurman all the way down to P5, down 2 positions already, as is Smallballs. But a very, very good start by both of the front rows. Pinkeye, look at him go. P6 to P3 already. And again, looking to move further up the order. The advantage of starting on those medium tyres is a mistake from Nathan. That opens up potential for a move from Pinkeye. Opens up the potential for Phil to pull away from the field. There's a yellow flag further down. That's Rojo who's in trouble at that early chicane that I cannot ever remember the name of. He's dropped way back off of the field. A strong start from Pinkeye there.
Yep, and I tell you what, Phil is the other person I'd be looking at saying that is an incredible start. So far out in front already. He's doing an excellent job. He's going to have to try and break that DRS train as quickly as he can, though, because DRS is so powerful around here. We have 2 massive DRS zones, as Gurnman getting past Sweetcrown. Sweetcrown with an incredible launch, but just sinking right back down a couple positions after the opening couple corners, as Nathan getting overtaken by Pinkeye. Pinkeye has a yellow indicator on his fuel, so I wonder if he's expecting a safety car and hoping to save fuel there, because he is certainly under-fueled, as Nathan losing another position there to Gurnman this time. So the medium's paying dividends for that second and third place duo, as there seems to have been some contact further back. Possibly there was a yellow flag. I think I saw Bosch Evans getting away from the first chicane a little bit slowly, but it is all to play for up towards the front. Phil doing a very good job. Of course, the gaps glitched. Pinkeye is not, in fact, a minute 20 seconds ahead of Phil, but tell you what, Phil has a sizable gap on track to Pinkeye. It's not going to be enough to break the DRS, I don't think.
It's 9 tenths. Mine's working for me here on my screen. I've got a few other glitches further down, but currently the gap's sitting at 9 tenths. It was 1 second at the moment, actually coming down to 8 tenths now through Ascari. But no, Phil's so strong with Ascari, actually, he might be able to escape there. But as mentioned, Nathan losing out 2 positions on the main straight last lap around those medium tyres do seem to be the faster one, but Phil's pace almost seems to be enough to counteract that. 9 tenths at the moment. Burning ERS is the Aston Martin of Pinkeye to try and close that down, as there we go, fastest lap to Pinkeye for the moment. Of course that'll change as fuel loads decrease, but keeping within that all-important 1 second margin.
Nearly going for a move on Sweetcrown. Apologies for interrupting there, but looked for a second like he was going to dive down the inside of the Red Bull into turn 1. Sahilu putting a lot of pressure on our championship leader, though. The Red Bull struggling against the Alfa Romeo at the moment, but of course I'd imagine Sweetcrown's focus sights will be set on Nathan. Nathan, the man behind him in the championship. I'm sure Sweetcrown, as he gets a big snap of oversteer out of the second chicane. But Sweetcrown, I'm sure, will be looking to get ahead of Nathan. He's the only man who can really challenge him at this point in the championship. The others not super far behind, mind you, but far enough that it would be an extremely difficult charge up the field to get ahead of him in the championship. as actually Nathan and Sweet Crown, I've seen both of them losing the rear end quite a few times on this lap. I think both of them, well, realistically, I think everybody going quite low on the rear downforce. But I tell you what, Pink Eye is right on the back of Phil, and Gernman is even closer to the back of Pink Eye than he is to the back of Phil. So we'll see these top three potentially going for a move down the main straight. That second and third place drivers having the DRS. It's going to be Pink Eye to the inside. Is Gernman going to do anything? No, he's not. But Pink Eye through on the inside, later on the brakes, and he's through into turn one. Gernman will
safety
now...
car. Rojo in
car.
the wall at Parabolica. Sorry to interrupt you there. Front wing completely gone off his car, and he's pulling straight into the pit lane. A safety car is brought out just after Pink Eye gets into the lead, saves Phil from being overtaken from Gernman, and re-bunches up the pack. That is an interesting time to come into play there. Phil did a good job of pulling away, but as soon as the DRS kicked in, that gap he'd built just came down to nothing so quickly. These low wings aided even more by the DRS. And,
yeah, it is very, very impressive to see just how powerful the slipstream and the DRS are here. Went from about 9/10 to 2/10 in the space of a lap, the gap between Phil and Pink Eye did, and in just a couple more corners, and just a couple more meters really, Pink Eye was already through on Phil again. So Pink Eye leads the way now in the Aston Martin, a CPI driver out in front, followed by a couple of IRT drivers. So despite the vast number of IRT drivers here today, IRT not on top at the moment. But I'm sure Phil and Gernman will both be looking for the lead. Phil will immediately be under pressure from Gernman when the safety car ends, I would imagine, provided, of course, Gernman gets a decent restart. Actually, Phil fakes going into the pits, but who's not faking? Sweet Crown is into the pits, as is Ferg and Kenny, as well as Indigo, as well as a few others, actually. So that's a mix of different tires going into the pits, some medium drivers, some hard drivers. We'll see as Ferg goes on to the mediums. What did Sweet Crown go on to? He went on to the mediums as well. So interesting to see that going on here. Some pit stops, but not everyone. The tires are only 4 laps old. They won't be too worn out yet, but there definitely will be some wear on some of those tires. So we'll see how things go.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you're nearer the back of the order, you may as well take a fresh set of tyres while you have the opportunity, save yourself the choice of strategy. Essentially change early on, gives yourself more options down the line. Now, something I do want to mention, Evans and AJ Wuhan's penalty, they came at the same time in that yellow flagged turn 1. I think there's a decent chance that they've essentially had contact, cut that first chicane and been given the 3-second penalty, and if it kind of was almost forced upon them, there's a chance the stewards will remove that come the end of the race if they apply to get it removed. So I'm very tempted to not kind of consider them to have 3-second time penalties just yet on Evans and AJ Wuhan. I think they're going to get those removed.
Worth mentioning though, AJ Wuhan actually has 6 seconds worth of time penalties, while Bosch Evans only has 3. So
you're right, I hadn't checked that.
So AJ Wuhan not going to be losing very many positions from that time penalty as it stands, but we'll see how the rest of his race goes. He could pull himself up towards the front of the grid, at which point those penalties could prove detrimental to his position, but we'll see come the end of the race. Again, some of the drivers faking going into the pits, but this time round looks like nobody actually is going in. Be a bit bizarre if anyone who had pitted last lap were to go in again. Not seeing any of them doing that, so no master strategists here apparently.
Yeah, we're not going to see a repeat of Tobe's 10 stop at Singapore here at Monza. I think it'd be even more hard pressed to do that, as there's even less laps here. Added no rain as well, but yeah, I do wonder what caused the crash of Rojo, because he was so far back off the field. I mean, maybe he had a little bit of damage. We saw a couple of mistakes from him before the crash that brought out the safety car that we didn't see, but certainly, I mean, the safety car he's caused has benefited him pretty heavily. He's been able to catch up with the field, now still at the back, but at least not completely out of contention. The man currently... Is he reserve? Or is he...
I believe he is, yes. I can double check that, though, actually.
I was looking for him in the standings, and I haven't come across his name, so I believe Rojo to be reserve. In fact, I'll get the list of reserves up while we're sitting behind the safety car.
He is a reserve, yeah.
Yes, we've got 5 reserves today, one of which being Pink Eye, currently leading in the Aston Martin. We've got Kahulu again, the Alfa Romeo, last week's race winner. Small Balls and the other Aston Martin. Indigo, the wonderful commentator in the Ferrari. And Rojo, as we just mentioned, in the Williams, as we get that safety car in this lap. So Pink Eye to lead us away.
Yeah, any expectations coming out of the Parabolica for you?
Not coming out Parabolica, but into turn 1, chaos is my expectation.
That's pretty reasonable, I'd say.
I mean, yeah, not much more than that. I think that Pink Eye is not going to get overtaken. I think Phil is under threat from Gurman. I would not be surprised to see that Ferrari leaving the first chicane in P2. But I'd also not be surprised to see Sweet Crown making progress on a fresh set of mediums. A driver that fast leading the championship. We are going to see progress from him as on the throttle goes Phil. Pink Eye almost losing it in the Parabolica there, and Gurman right on the back of Phil. Let's see how this goes. I predicted Gurman going to get past Phil, but it might be Gurman straight through to the front, looks to the outside, but no, it's Phil going for the move in the end. He's gone to the inside of Pink Eye. Those hard tyres nearly go alongside, but not enough to go for the move. And you know what? Chaos has not happened. The drivers are getting through. Chatter slightly non-optimal line further back there, dropping down in position as Phil still challenging for the lead. Sweet Crown, as predicted, getting past Evans up into P7 for him.
As just actually at the back of the grid, Roju almost going off the track at the Curva Grande. Ooh, there is a little bit of chaos further back at the second chicane. Top and AJ Wuhan making some contact for Bosch Evans, just dropping down the grid like a stone. Through goes Indigo, through goes Kenny, through goes Ferg, nearly through the wall goes Bosch Evans. There's 2 more positions lost to Pease and Julebream, not the restart Bosch Evans wanted. We'll see further up the grid though. All these drivers so close together. Pink Eye looks like he's struggling a little bit through Ascari. Will that give an opportunity to Gurnman? He seems to be losing time on the straight, actually. I think Pink Eye might have better straight line speed than him. Phil weaving a little bit to break the slipstream, I believe. I saw somebody weaving up there at least. Let's see, Pink Eye using the overtake back in the slipstream of Phil. Will he be close enough on this occasion? Only 4/10 back. Can he make a move for the lead of the race into turn 1? I think he's going to be too far back, but it is going to be close. He looks to the inside,
Kahulu,
thinks better of it.
Kahulu having a little look on Nathan, looked like he was going to the outside, switch to the inside, but still too far back to go for moves. However, Sweet Crown, he is able to go for a move there. The fresh mediums being put to good use. Pitched for them on the safety car, and now already up into P6.
Ferg round the outside of Curva Grande, making the move on Smalley Balls, as well as Sweet Crown through turns 1 and 2. I don't know if you saw that move, but that was beautiful from Sweet Crown. Round the outside of turn 2. That was genuinely a phenomenal move on those fresher mediums. So no surprise he had more grip, but using it the way he did, that was quite impressive. And we'll see now if he can pressure Sahilu. He's going to look to the outside. He's going to get squeezed if he tries to do that. Sahilu on the inside of Nathan into Ascari. Thinks better of it in the end, but Sweet Crown is now going to sense an opportunity on these drivers. I've mentioned it a couple times before in the past few streams, but these drivers in CRL are so opportunistic. They see one mistake and they go for it immediately. They can turn anything into an overtaking opportunity, so any little mistake could be the end of that position for you. We'll see Sweet Crown now in the slipstream of Sahilu, in the slipstream of Nathan, as well as a few other people in the slipstream of the drivers ahead of them. It's going to be Pink Eye looking to the inside, but he's not going to make the move. Is Sahilu going to go for a move? He thinks better of it in the end, doesn't go for a move into turn 1. All of these drivers in a long DRS train here. Has DRS even been enabled?
Oh, is Julebream a mistake on the exit of turn 2 there, dropping down a few positions down to P14. Currently did not catch what that mistake was. Saw the after effect of it as here we are. Kenny looking at the back of Small Balls. Not gonna happen though. As close as he got, it was not enough to go for the move. Now DRS is enabled this front pack, so they're gonna exit the second Lesmos, and oh, Sweet Crown nearly into the back of Kahulu there. Here we go, look at this overspeed, he's burning his DRS, he's got his DRS alongside the outside line coming down towards Ascari. It should be enough on those fresher mediums, and that is Sweet Crown up into P5. Now the car behind Nathan, more importantly, for the championship. It's Kahulu actually almost going to lose out to Ferg as well. Ferg
yeah,
I
was just going to mention. Ferg very opportunistic there to make a move out on the exit of Ascari, but we'll see now. These two championship contenders separated by a 1/10.5, just a 1/10 now. We'll see Sweet Crown using the ERS, using the DRS, but it seems like Nathan has more straight line speed than him at the moment, and it's a move for the lead. Phil goes down to third, Gernman into second, Pink-Eye into first. Ooh, Pink-Eye running wide in turn 1, misses his braking zone. We'll see if Gernman can capitalize on that through Curva Grande up towards the second chicane. As movement at the back of the grid, but Gernman in the slipstream, he's going to go to the inside of Curva Grande. That's going to be the outside for the second chicane though. Can Pink-Eye defend? He's too far back. Gernman takes the lead in the Ferrari, and if the game had crowd noises, the crowd would be going wild now as the Ferrari hits the front in Monza.
Yeah, some very, very good fighting there. Smart placement of the car by Gernman. Waited for the opportunity to go up the inside of Curva Grande. Was able to hold it around the outside of these front four drivers. Still able to hold on from those on the fresher mediums. As I say that, Sweet Crown looking for the move on Nathan. But I think Nathan has his wings so low that he's just a complete rocket ship in the straight line. So tricky to overtake there. I mean, his ERS is mighty. He's in 70%. He's got 30% more here than Sweet Crown behind him. In a good position, he's on the hard tyres, so the longer the stint goes, the better it is. But here we go, Sweet Crown looking for the move on the exit Parabolica. What a place to go for it. But I think without the slipstream, he's just going to, look, he starts falling back. Nathan burning a little bit of ERS, I think, there, but still holding on to that P4 as we see Gernman under threat from Pink-Eye. Pink-Eye is going to go for the move. But it is just Pink-Eye goes through, runs a little bit deep. We're going to see Gernman then get him back through Curva Grande again. Depends on his traction here. Slightly worse exit, but not massively. Quarter of a second back. Is it enough to go back into the lead? Though I don't think it is, unless he fancies a very late break and an absolute send for the move. And yeah, sticking behind for the moment. But good racing among these top three.
Yep, some fantastic racing here up at the top of the grid. These drivers have so much respect for each other, and when it comes to racing, they are just so good. They go all out, but they don't hit each other at all. They just know how to keep the cars where they belong, and these drivers really demonstrating the skill of CRL. These guys are the top guys in CRL, and showing why, as well as Sweet Crown goes onto the grass trying to make a move on Nathan. He's burning up the overtake. He wants to get through before the Parabolica. Can he make the move on the inside? He does. Will Nathan be able to make anything back?
Ooh,
as Bosch Evans retires, that could be a safety car.
Safety car it is. Sweet Crown immediately getting past the Aston Martin of Gernman and Pink-Eye, immediately both into the pits. Evans is out, the exit of Ascari catching him out. Suspect you go too fast, the curb catches you out and just flings you into the wall. Very, very good job for Pink-Eye and Gernman to get into the pit so early. Interestingly, Gernman
putting on
onto the softs. Yeah.
Those surely can't go to the end of the race. That's going to be a tough one for him to bring to the end of the race. I wonder if he maybe accidentally selected those or something. I'd say Nathan may be in one of the best positions here, putting on the mediums to the end of the race. Sweet Crown on 7-lap-old mediums won't be able to, just won't have the same grip. And 11-lap-old hards for Phil. He is not in a good position. He still needs to pit. He hasn't taken his mandatory pit stop yet.
Yeah, and I think that's more just he was past the pit entry beforehand. Was able to get past the safety car, so I suspect we will see him pit at the end of this yellow flag lap. Be interesting to see what Sweet Crown and Peace do. Do they keep the track position, hope for another safety car later, or do they pit now as well? Try and go to the end on whatever tyres suits them best. I think they're both stuck on a set of mediums. That could go to the end, but it's how far back do they drop? Depends on how much can they push the delta, where can they manage to end up. But I agree with you, Nathan looking to be in a very strong position here.
Yep, and worth mentioning, that front group is incredibly lucky. That top four are so lucky that they got past the safety car, because if they were just sat behind the safety car, they would have no gap to the drivers behind. But with the Delta, they might not lose that many positions, if any at all. We'll see Sweet Crown into the pits. I mean, all of the top four. More to the point, Sweet Crown putting on the mediums. Peas putting on the mediums, all of them putting on the mediums. So that top four in a good position now. We'll see if Pink Eye can overtake them potentially. We'll see. No, it looks like they're going to come out in front even. Wow, so Pink Eye only just coming up to third.
Yeah. Is he where they all slotting into? Kenny P7, Gernman, so P's P4, and then the top two remaining in top two. So Nathan actually not looking as strong as we perhaps thought. Pitching a lap early has almost cost him more. That tiny bit of green flag, yeah. I mean,
suddenly it's between Phil and Sweet Crown for the win, it seems like.
And Nathan is going to be so frustrated by that, because he was looking to do so well, and then all of a sudden the safety car, while it seemed to come at the right time, in the end, not the case. The other driver is able to get past it and able to get to the pit lane faster to stay ahead come that safety car line. As Yulbream into the pits again. What's he sticking on? Is he? There's a fresh set of tyres up there ahead of him. What are they? They look to be another set of mediums. And he is on to some nearly fresh mediums. Apparently put one lap on them. Not sure if that was from quali or earlier on, but there we go. There's his tyres. It'll take him a little while to catch back up with the pack.
Yeah, and I have to ask, do you think Gernman could bring the softs to the end of the race? It's only about 14 odd laps that he needs to do, but that still strikes me as a little bit much for the softs. Ferg also putting on the softs. Do you think either of them can do it?
I think it makes sense for Ferg. He's down in P14. It's worth the risk to try and make up those places, hope for another safety car, and hope that everyone comes in. Gernman, I think it's a bit of a mistake. He might gain some positions at the start, especially the pace he'll have over Pink Eye, but after that, the tyre wear is just going to come back to bite him. He does need another well-timed safety car to essentially stay nearer the front. And if it's green flag racing to the end, I think he's going to struggle, as Ferg is actually coming into the pits. The man not seeming to be a fan of the soft tyres, instead putting on some mediums. So it will be just Gernman on the softs.
Yeah, and worth mentioning also is that Gernman, although he's on the softs, it was between the softs and the hards for him. He didn't have the option to put on the mediums because he had been on mediums for the entire race up until then. So he would not be fulfilling the mandatory tire compound change if he put on another set of mediums, which of course seems to be the optimal tire here. Pink Eye putting on the hards as well as Chazza. So the two of them saying, well, maybe the hards will be better, but it was between the hards and the softs for Gernman, so maybe the softs will be better just for that added pace while they do stay alive, but I would be concerned about them dying out and potentially even getting a puncture come the end of the race if they're pushing them for too long.
Yeah, I think it's a definite gamble. We'll see how that gamble pays off. Two drivers up front, not so much of a gamble from them. They're not on the hard tyres, they're not going to be the slowest on track, and they've got the tyres to last to the end of the race. So can Phil fend off Sweet Crown? Well, he was the man you predicted for the win, and it's certainly looking strong for that prediction so far. Shown very, very good pace these first few stints. Now going to be leading when the safety car does restart, which should be at the end of lap 15. That means 12 laps of green flag racing to the end. I mean, when you put it like that, maybe the softs can manage it, but the rubber is still wearing off even now on... Oh no! Hello! Lap. That's very, very late to call it. I've never seen it call it so late. The driver's so incredibly backed up. I mean, look at this. I've never seen the safety car called so late. Now.
And I don't know, man. I think you should stick by Kenny. Your prediction of Kenny to win down in 7th on those mediums. He could do all right. Phil gets going. He gets a good jump on Sweet Crown. Sweet Crown just falling back a few tenths. He's not as far back as he might have wanted, or as Phil might have wanted, but he's not right on the back of him as Gernman already making up a position on Peas. Peas going around the outside to take it back though. Peas, nice defense there from the Alpine driver, forcing Gernman right out to the outside of the track. Indigo making up a couple of positions, and your prediction, Kenny, going all the way down to 9th.
Well, my actual prediction is still P6, but here we go.
I'm going to hold that over you, though.
Yeah. As Gurman, I mean, he really needed to make that move on P's as soon as he could. Come the DRS, it becomes easier, but he wants to make the most of his soft tyres, the exits he can get, using them a little bit of a breathing space behind him, but burning ERS now, he does not want to be wasting it if he's not going to get the move done, but I think he is going to get the move done in this case. Inside of Ascari is where he is looking, and P's, breaking a little early to let him through, not wanting to disrupt himself too much, saving his tyres. Perhaps you can see, actually is burning some ERS here. Not sure how worth it that is, whether it's worth saving for later or not, but Gurman now up into P4.
Yep, good moment for the soft, or the driver on the softs there. The Ferrari pushing towards the front of the grid again. We'll see if those softs work out for him. Of course, we were questioning that strategy under safety car. Seems to be working out at the moment, but the question is more of a long-term thing.
Ferg, Roger and Taupe, huge battle going on further down. Started in Parabolica, now down the main straight towards turn 1, and it is Ferg who comes out on top. Roger in the end not able to do too much, and Taupe actually almost having to clatter over the curb there, picking up 3 seconds time penalties due to track limits.
Bring around the outside his teammate at Curva Grande. We'll see if he can make the move. He seems to be able to into the second chicane. He brakes later and he's through safely into 14th.
Yeah, a little bit deep, but of course enough to hold on. Broke later, got that position done. Into P14, points for the top 12 here in CRL. So not in the point positions at the moment, but of course the higher up you are, the better your chances are of scoring those points, especially those big points. As obvious as that seems, as much as I feel like Will Buxton saying a statement like that, it does need to be said. The more you push further up, the more likely you are for things to go your way.
You win. But yeah, Gurnman currently looking to finish first to get the win, and 5/10 off of Sweet Crown. He's got those soft compound tires. They're 4 laps old. He's got to capitalize on that fresh rubber as much as he can immediately. About 6/10 between Sweet Crown and Phil, and about 6/10 between Sweet Crown and Gurnman as well. So we'll see how this plays out between that top 3. Phil looking very strong right now, but Sweet Crown, you can never count him out of a race. Back in Portimao last week, when he was down in last place after just a lap or 2, I did say right then and there, he's not completely out. Even if he seems like he is, he's definitely not completely out. And in second, he's now in Monza, he's definitely not out of the fight for the win. So we'll see how this plays out for him.
Yeah, of course, we just saw a move there by AJ on Kenny. Kenny on slightly older tyres there, dropping down even further still. I can't remember where he started at the restart, but it was certainly not P11. I think it was something like P7 where he was. The older tyres. There's another position lost there. This time Ferg getting past and going from bad to worse for Kenny. Yieldbream getting past Rojo just behind. The DRS now enabled, of course, allows for more overtakes, puts the leader under pressure at the start of these DRS trains, but P's on the back of Pinkai. Pinkai on those hard tyres. They're going to be hurting in comparison to the mediums. That lack of pace holding them back. As the stint goes on, the better they're going to be comparatively, but P's looking to the inside of turn 1, and I suspect Pinkai may just back out of this, although not doing so. He wants to hold on to the position here, but it's not enough.
Just making it through. Whoa,
now Nathan, contact! Pinkai!
Down goes Pinkai.
Backwards, taking out one of the F1 sponsor boards. Liberty Media in shambles, but Pinkai down to P16. I don't know if that was assisted by the contact with Nathan, if that was caused by P's, or if that was just the case of getting on the throttle that too much in the traction zone. But Pinkai right the way down to back with the order. That is his race essentially over. Climbing back to where he was is an absolute mountain of a challenge, and one I'm not sure is possible for any driver.
Yep, and Gurnman, Sweet Crown and Phil still leading the way. P's right on the back of them as well, but that contact puts quite a gap between Nathan and that top 4. So Nathan, unless he can pull in 0.2 of a second in the coming few laps to get himself into the DRS, I suspect he's going to be getting fifth at best, with Pease, Gernman, Sweetcrown, and Phil fighting it out for the win, unless of course Gernman's tires die out, in which case Nathan could potentially go up to fourth. But it's going to be Sweetcrown for the lead on the inside towards turn one. He's through into first well before the braking zone. Phil's going to have to settle for second for the time being. We'll see if he can make an overtake back up into first. But Gernman will of course be looking for a move, as will Pease on Gernman himself. So we'll see these four drivers all battling it out for the win. None of them truly out of the battle for the win, but certainly it's looking most like Sweetcrown and Phil will be going for the win, as Pink Eye retiring in the pit lane. Understandable after the disappointment out of turn 1 and 2 on the previous lap. Not what he will have wanted on that occasion, as Chazza getting past Roju at the back of the grid, up a position for the McLaren driver. Neither of the McLarens having an excellent day, neither of the AlphaTauris either. The Alfa Romeo's doing slightly better, and then as you go up the grid, the teams are doing better and better, as Pink Eye also leaving the session, as I realized just how much I sounded like Will Buxton myself there.
Now, importantly, main straight last lap around, Small Balls overtook Nathan, slingshot past and got within 1 second apiece. So actually between Nathan and Small Balls, able to close back up to that lead group. That gap now down to way less than a second, actually bringing Nathan potentially back into the fight as Phil moved for the lead, takes it back the lap after it was taken off him. The agent tyres of Gernman, they're losing their edge now. They're going to have less and less chances to pass, and more he's going to be at the disadvantage.
Speaking of Gernman though, he is saving his ERS a little bit. He was on about 5 or 6% a lap or two ago, up to 30%, nowhere near as much as the drivers around him. Phil with 75%, Sweetcrown in the 90s for his ERS, although P's only on about 33%, the same as Gernman now. So Gernman certainly putting himself back into the fight ERS-wise now, but certainly his tires will not be helping him at this point. I think this is probably about the crossover point where the mediums will start to get better than the softs. Smalley Ball's right on the back of Pease as well. Nathan's going to have to try and stick within a second of Smalley Balls. He does not want to lose that DRS. Indigo on the back of Nathan as well. Sahilu making an overtake on Indigo. Down the inside towards the Parabolica. He's through safely before the braking zone even. It's Phil who leads the way onto lap 21. Will it be Sweetcrown leading the way into turn 1 though? We've seen these two drivers swapping positions many times on the past couple laps. It is Sweetcrown going into the lead. He has to brake a little bit later to take the lead though. The Red Bull driver through on the Haas. And we'll see the Ferrari of Gernman coming under pressure from Pease as well, right behind them. We'll see if the Alpine can make a move down towards the second chicane. I don't think he will be able to. He's a bit far back to do it into a corner like that. Further back, though, I think AJ Wuhan possibly going for a spin. Certainly having some big snaps of oversteer. I saw him just correcting one snap as I was going on to him with the camera. But Sweetcrown out in front, gaining as almost half a second out in front of Phil. But that will shrink greatly in the DRS zones. Phil pulling in Sweetcrown already. We'll see if Phil can make a move into turn 1 next lap. That seems to be the preferred overtaking point for the top two duo. We'll see what they do come the end of the race if they just keep trading positions until then. But up until then, at least it's Gernman in third on the softs still. Those tires losing grip every single lap. He's doing good to bring the softs this far, though.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it is favour of Sweetcrown, but both these guys have so much ERS. Both of them able to save. They're playing the long game. They just want as much as they can for when they start fighting at the end. As Pease past Gernman, and I think this is the end for Gernman, as he's just going to start falling down the smaller balls right on his tail. Kahulu actually somewhere has got past Nathan while I'm not looking. As a pit lane retirement from AJ Wuhan down in P15, I think suspecting not able to even get any points this time around, so just choosing to retire from the race. And I think Phil and Sweetcrown almost seem to be working together here. I don't know if they're in a party together making the most of this. But these two essentially being almost unpassable trading positions on the main straights, both remarkable pace. I mean, Phil, we saw the pole, Sweet Crown, we know his pace. Anyone who's been in CRL, seen CRL, you know just how fast Sweet Crown is. Give him any track, give him any car, he will make it work. Let's hit right on the back of that Haas car. And almost lining up a move down towards Parabolica here. 100% ERS at one point there through Ascari. Closing that gap down. He certainly is considering a move here, actually. I don't think he's going to go for it, though. Let's see when he brakes. They're not 100% brake pressure at all used. Doesn't want to hit the back, so brakes slightly earlier to play it safe. 3/10. P's not too far back himself. P's actually could throw the spanner into the works of these two up front here. Another fast driver on the medium tyres who could make some moves, as once again Sweet Crown going for the move on Phil. This time actually not passed as early. And he'll have him on the traction on the outside, but only just these two side by side. P's with a good view of it. Let's see, is he going to slot in behind? There we go, Phil does slot in. Now, is he close enough to go for a move? These three almost within a 10th for all three drivers. In fact, it was a 10th for all three drivers at one point there, but it is Sweet Crown who holds on. P's still P3, but I think he's going to try and make a change of that. Wants to move up if he can.
Yep, and I tell you what, Gernman's still holding on to those soft tires very well. I know I keep coming back to him mentioning those softs, but really impressive that he's still keeping up with this front group on 11-lap-old softs. Smalley Balls will, of course, be looking to set up a move at some point as P's looking for a move on Phil. He's all over the back of him through the Ascari chicane. It's not going to be an overtake on this occasion, but we'll have to wait and see if he can do anything through turn 1. And I think Sweet Crown and Phil immediately after you mentioned potentially them working together, almost instantly deciding to battle a little bit more. So we'll see if they battle again on this lap. Will Phil be close enough to Sweet Crown to make a move? I think he definitely will, using a bit of ERS, using all the DRS, and he's through into turn 1, into P1. No problem at all there for Phil, but Sweet Crown looked to his inside on the exit of the first chicane, not making a move, but definitely looking for an opportunity. We'll see how this turns out. We've got just a few laps to go in this race. This top 8 in quite an impressive train here. I could not tell you who's going to win this one. It's so close between that top 3.
Yeah, I mean, just under 4 laps left to go, and that top train, watching those 8 cars go through the first chicane, almost felt like clockwork the way they just flew through. Cars nose to tail, so close. The confidence these drivers have in their cars, even in each other. At the moment, though, it does seem to be a question of will it be Phil, will it be Sweet Crown? Look at their ERS, both 90 to 100% there. So these two looking like the favourites for the moment. P's, we'll see if he can do anything. At the moment, my money not particularly on him. Our pole sitter seeming to be in the strong position, but we will see how it all pans out in the end. Suspect we're going to see another swap here by the front two, that gap 3/10, so almost certainly going to be another overtake, as Gernman doing a very good job to still hold on to that car. In fact, last lap was
braking on the straight.
Interesting.
So clearly not wanting to make the overtake there. For the first lap in quite a few laps, no overtake made into turn 1. And I would attribute that most likely to Sweet Crown braking down the main straight. Not braking hard, not brake checking P's or anything, just slowing himself down a little bit so that he doesn't end up overtaking Phil into turn 1. I wonder if he's playing strategically, just wanting to make a move, only coming onto the last lap so that Phil doesn't have an opportunity to re-overtake him. We'll see now, though. We're on lap 25 of 27. We've got the end of this lap, lap 26 and lap 27 to go, so about 2.5 laps left. It's anyone's game in this top 3, especially between that top 2.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some moves further back there. Rojo, Tope and Chaz are fighting for that last points position down in P12. So there was actually some overtakes into turn 1, just not for this front group. Now, is Sweet Crown just going to try and stick behind in that P2 until the end? If he tries it too much, he's almost at risk of P's trying to go for something here. As we see that gap is slightly larger than last time around. Currently, what was that, 4/10? Is he going
Not
to go for
braking on the straight this time, but I think braking a tiny bit early into
contact.
turn 1.
There's a bit broken front wing there. I didn't see which car that was from. I think it might have been Gernman losing a bit of front wing there into the back of Pease. I mean, the lightest touch, but enough to lose out ever so slightly. Though
Nobody
Kahulu on
noticeably missing a
balls.
piece of front wing. No. Ooh,
And he's gone deep.
Yeah, just missing that second chicane. He's going to be down to 7th, maybe even 8th if Indigo can challenge him. Not at the moment, but Nathan actually having to almost take evasive action to make that overtake. But Nathan threw up into 6th. He'll be looking to capitalize on any chaos in the hopes of gaining some positions towards Sweet Crown. Sweet Crown in first in the championship, in second in the race as we go into the final lap of the race in one straight and one corner from now. Let's see how this turns out. It's going to be all-out push from all of these top 8 drivers. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, one last straight, one last turn 1 overtaking opportunity, and I suspect we're going to see the ERS completely dumped here. The gap to 10th. Sweet Crown looking for the move. Of course he's going to go for the move. He has to. They begin their last lap. Goes past Flying Pease having a look. Pease up the inside of Phil, and these two side by side, so close there. Who's going to get it in the end? All this fighting, great news for Sweet Crown as Pease is up into P2. Phil down from
over
first to third.
Sweet Crown is safe in first now. He's broken the DRS gap in the space of 2 corners in one chicane. He's also going purple, up by 4/10 on his fastest lap at the moment. So really pushing through the first sector there. Gernman very low on ERS, but I tell you what, he's kept these softs alive really well to be still in 4th. Sahilu will be looking for any opportunity he can find to make a move. Pease back into the DRS of Sweet Crown. He's far too far back, but he is in a much better position than it looked like he would be.
Phil
coming into
on
the
Pease
speed.
on the outside of Ascari. He's gone deep into the gravel though. Oof. Narrowly avoids the gravel. There's Gernman and Kahulu
as well. Sahilu on the outside towards Parabolica. Phil as well on Pease.
Nathan on the outside. Has he got the both of them? I think he has. Nathan sweeps in around Kahulu and Gernman from P6 to P4 for him. Gernman, no, from P4 to P6, dropping down in position there. As in the end, it is Sweet Crown who wins. Nathan up to P4, Gernman down to P6 in those tyres. But look at the gap between 6th and 8th. That is 72 thousandths between 3 drivers there. So close. As there's some broken front wings there as they come towards the line. As the last 2 drivers get to the end of the race. Rojo crawling across the line. I think having ran out of fuel. But my goodness, what an end to that race. Phil and Pease getting in each other's way, allowing Sweet Crown to break away and get himself yet another win. Game giving Pease driver of the day, but I've got to say it's Wouter. Oh, sorry, Sweet Crown. That man just played so smart, waited to go for last minute and made it work beautifully there.
Wow, yeah, that was an incredible race. Brilliant driving up at the front from all of those top 8 drivers. I mean, you could see that gaggle of cars after they came across the line. You could just see them all sitting there together, just bunching together as the game took control and all these cars hitting each other. As you can also see the end of the track there in the animation for a moment.
I've got a black screen.
Staring into the void. Okay, yeah, I was watching the animation. You can see Adrian Newey celebrating with Sweet Crown and the void only about 200 meters away. Yeah, so Sweet Crown taking the win there. And if you want to run us through our finishing order.
Yeah, it's not currently showing me the list, but I will read it off anyway. So, of course, the win there by Sweet Crown, Phil P2 and Pease getting P3 in the end, not able to do anything after his turn 1 dive on. Nathan up to P4 in that run down to Parabolica on the last lap. Then Kahulu P5 and Gernman losing out a couple of positions at the end for P6. Indigo, the usual commentator, P7, so Ferrari 6-7, Smalley Bulls P8, Ferg P10, Yulbream, Ferg P9, Yulbream P10, then Kenny, Taupe 11 and 12 picking up the last points. Rojo running out of fuel at the end of 13, and Chazza P14, as well as DNFs from AJ Wuhan, Pink High and Evans, as the wonderful game flashes the results there for a fraction of a second. Right, and I've just heard from our race winner, Sweet Crown, is unable to do an interview because he's ill.
Ah, that's impressive.
That's an impressive drive.
I've driven while ill, and it took a lot out of me. So that is an extra impressive result from Sweet Crown. Wow.
Yeah, as none of the drivers yet commented anything in terms of the interview apart from Sweet Crown turning it down, but what a race. The strategy there from the drivers, so smartly played by some of them, especially Sweet Crown there. Phil and Pease, that fight into turn 1. Phil seemed slightly unhappy with the move there, but I think it was a move that was on, and in the end Phil did hold on to that P2. Nathan did well to get P4. I mean, I don't know if you saw the 3 wide between him, Cthulhu and Gernman, but did it on the outside, swept around for that P4 right at the end, and of course that's after he got put from P4 down to P6 because of the way that safety car affected him. We thought he was going to do well, and then of course the other guys came round and did it. But yeah, I mean, what a race.
Yeah, that was really, really incredible. So close at the front. Even just, I mean, until we were out of turn 2 on the final lap, I had no clue who was going to win. And suddenly, Sweet Crown was just miles ahead. But that was really incredible, as I noticed also his nickname on Discord making fun of my slip-up last week when I accidentally called him Sweet Pea. So that's entertaining. But driving while ill and winning like that is unbelievable.
Yeah,
wow.
Shows why he's the 2-time champion and looking to make it a third. What's this? What are we? 8 rounds down, 4 more to go after this one. It's Singapore next week, where I imagine it'll be you and Indigo back in the comms box instead of out on the track. I certainly won't be back for next week, so hopefully it'll be you and Indigo back. But yeah, Singapore, good track. Plenty of front wings lost. That's where Tobes did his 10 stop in a 31 lap race, which I will never stop mentioning because it was very entertaining. But yeah, actually championship implications. So of course Sweet Crown P1, that is 30 points. Who got the fastest lap in the end? I wasn't paying attention.
I'm not sure, truth be told. It might have been Phil.
Well, I think Sweet Crown might have got it in that last lap. I don't know how fast that last lap was. The game didn't show me, the lovely little thing it is. But yeah, Sweet Crown P1 to Nathan's P4. That's a 13-point gain on the already 36-point lead he had. So 49 points now between Sweet Crown and Nathan, provisionally before the stewards come and bonk people for misbehaving. So yeah, more and more looking good for Sweet Crown and his triple title hopes. Less and less looking good for Nathan. But yeah, anything to say?
Not much. Just incredible drive from Sweet Crown. I'd say he's got to be my driver of the day, especially now knowing that he was ill. But Phil and everyone else at the front of the grid, really, Phil, Pease, Nathan, all of them, just some incredible driving there. We saw some mistakes towards the back of the grid, but everyone up at the front was really, really just throwing everything at it and doing an excellent job with it. So good. Congratulations to our winner, to our podium sitters, to our points finishers. But yeah, just some incredible driving there.
Yeah, well, I think that is going to be us ending until next week. So next Monday, go watch Tier 3 and 4 at Singapore. Next Thursday, go watch Tiers 1 and 2 at Singapore also, to see more of this action. We'll see if Sweet Crown can keep up his championship lead, what Nathan can do. Of course, impossible for Nathan to be in the championship lead after next round, but can certainly close down that gap. And you won't see me next week, so goodbye from me. Whenever I'll be back, who knows, but you will see bunnies once again next week. Adrian alongside Indigo, Jamie, call them what you will, but see you guys next week.